Hello and welcome to our 8th session where we are going to learn about the basics of collisions. Our game itself is an obstacle course game where we are supposed to move our player without colliding with any other object, and when it collides, when one object touches another object, what action should be taken, and this is what we are going to understand. What is this collision? We are going to understand this. So, before we understand this, let us build our game arena, let us rework on our game arena so that we can make our pawn move from start to end in the right way. So, this is our first job. So, let us come back to our game. So, now in the game actually I have closed it. So, what I am now going to do it, I am first going to launch Unity Hub, and in Unity Hub I am going to start with this obstacle course project which we created in our previous session. Wait till the course gets loaded. Okay, fine, our game has been loaded. So, actually in this game now what the issue is, so if I click the play button here and when I play it with my arrow keys, say I am moving with the arrow keys, now this area that I am required for playing the game appears to be very small. I have very small area to play around here. So, to increase this area I will stop the playback. Now, I will come back to my floor area and I will set my floor area to 2 along x and 2 along z. Actually, why I need not change, because we are not worried about its depth. So, if I come here to this scene area and double click on floor, see here you have the floor area. So, this is the floor area, and in this floor area, see this is the floor area you are seeing. Now, in this floor area I am not bothered about y, but to maintain uniformity I will keep y also 2. So, I have increased my area. So, now I get more space to play around. So, now I will start, and with the arrow marks I will move it down arrow, left arrow, and say I may start the game from here. So, now I will move here, I will move to the top, okay, I will move to the left, and the speed is slightly more. I will stop the playback here, select the player, come here, and I will reduce the speed to 10. I will keep the speed 10. Now, I will play the game. And now, if you actually see here, so now our game starts from here, and I may have to move here, I will come here. So, now as I move around like this, I can mentally work out the way I have to add the obstacle here, what should be the path my player has to take to reach from bottom left corner to the top right corner here. So, if he reaches here, he is going to win. Now, we have already created this area. So, this is we have increased our arena, and I feel this arena is okay. So, I have increased my play area. So, first I will set my entire play area, and only thing now is my play area does not have any border. See, he goes away. To avoid it, I want to construct 4 walls on the sides of my play arena. I will stop the playback now. Now, I have a challenge for you. I want you to build some walls. So, I am giving you a challenge. So, now in Unity, create some walls. So, add walls on the outside of your play area, that is on all the 4 sides of your play area. If you like, give them a different material and a different color. Now, stop this video and try to move it, do it on yourself. So, let us see how much successful you will be. Okay, if you have added the wall and made it ready, congratulations, very good, but you have not done it. So, let us start working on that. So, now let us come back to Unity and see how we can build our wall. So, I have stopped the playback. I will increase this area in the scene, and I will middle mouse and drag it down with left mouse. With right mouse I will just tilt it. With alt pressed left mouse I can tilt it like this with alt and left mouse, and I am going to create an area, I am create a view like this, and here Now, the first thing is I will come to this obstacle scene, right click, and I am going to add a 3D object cube. So, I have added the cube. I will first its position reset to 0, so that it is exactly at the center. So, after adding it to the center now this is, I want this to move to the left end here. So, I will just drag it like this and bring it to the left end. Okay. And seeing the size of this, see my wall size, I will just move it, and as I move, I will move it by around minus 10 units. So, that or little more, minus 11. 11 is too much. So, I will move it by minus 10.5, and when I move it by minus 10.5, you can see it is just at the edge here. And now this thickness of the wall is too large. So, I will make it little thinner, that is along the z axis I will reduce its width by around scale by around 0.5. So, I will make it little smaller like this, then I will reduce this to minus 10.25. So, then it is just touching here. Now, I have to scale it along the x axis, so that it stretches to the through the entire length. So, for this along the x axis, if I stretch it, say it is moving, I will stretch it by around approximately 20 units. So, I will stretch it by 20 units. So, now if you want, you can navigate here to the side view with middle mouse, drag it down and see that where is it placed correctly. So, if required, I will just move it slightly to the top like this. So, along the y, I will move it by around 0.4 units. Okay. So, I have one side with alt left mouse, I will drag and see. Say I have one side of the wall ready. So, this is the one side of the wall. So, as I have created it, I will come to this cube. I am now going to press F2 to rename it, and I am going to call this as wall. So, in my image, this is to the left, I will call it as wall left. This is the left hand side wall. And second thing here, what I want is, I want this wall to be of a different material. So, for this, now what I will do is, I will come back to my asset material folder, and I am now going to create a new material here. I will right click, create new material, and I am going to call this material now as walls. And for this walls material, in this albedo color, I am going to select some cyanish tint like this, and then I will drag this and attach its color to the wall. So, my wall has got the material ready. But I have this material only on one side. Now, I want this material to be placed on the other side. So, for this I will select this wall left, and I am going to press Ctrl D to duplicate it, and I will press F2, and I am going to now call this as wall right. And I am now going to move it along the z axis and place it on the other side of the edge. So, I will move it by 10.25 on the other side. So, now I have two sides of the wall ready. Now, next what I will do is, I will come to the top view here. So, it will be easy for me to arrange from the top view. I will now select this wall left and wall right, both I will select, press Ctrl D to duplicate, and then now I will press E to come to the rotation view, and I am going to rotate it. I will press Ctrl Z, I will rotate it along the Z axis. Now, what is happening is, it is rotating along the pivot point. I will change this to center. Okay, so that now my pivot point is at the center. Now, if I press E and if I rotate it, see it is rotating along the center. So, what I will do is, I will move along the y axis, I will just rotate it here, and I will set this y value to 90. so that it is exactly rotated by 90 degree. And after I rotate it by 90 degree, now only thing is here, these two are, you are seeing a small gap here. See, we are seeing this gap. So, to avoid this gap, I will slightly scale it more along the axis. Along which axis should I scale? I will press Alt left mouse, rotate, and I will see it. Along the x it is 20, I will make it 21, I think. So, if I make it 21, see, it is correctly scaled. Even the other one, I will scale it by 21. Okay. So, now we have our walls ready. I will press Alt left mouse, rotate around, and I am going to now see this is our wall. So, we have successfully created the wall. So, I am going to call this, I will come to the top view now. Coming to the top view, now this one I will call this, I will press F2 and I will call this as, now in the top view what I will do is, see, this is, I will rename this as wall underscore bottom now, okay, and I will select this, this is, I will press F2 and I am going to call this as wall underscore left, and this is, I will press F2 and I will call this as wall underscore top, and I will select the other wall, press F2 and I will name it as wall underscore right. Okay. So, we have created these 4 walls. Now, after creating these 4 walls, now what I want is, now in our game, when we are playing the game, see here you have the game and I am going to execute the game. Now, what happens is, when I am playing the game, I will press right arrow, I am moving to the right. See, this wall has no effect on my player. So, he is not, see, is just moving as though that wall does not exist at all. Now, what I want is, when this player comes to the edge, he should stop, he should not penetrate through the wall. So, to achieve this, I will stop the playback. You have to understand one term which we call as the colliders. Say for example, I select any of the wall, say for example, I have selected the say wall top. So, I have stopped the playback. If I come here in the scene view, I will press Alt left mouse and turn it. So, I have selected the wall top. Now, if I double click wall top, it will be zoomed. Now, you can see the wall top here. Now, here if you come to the inspector of this wall top, you have various components. One is the transform component, which you already know, which sets its scale, position, rotation, all these values are set here. Then after this, you have one cube mesh filter, where we have attached a cube here. Okay, you can attach any other object here. I can even attach a cylinder here, but right now I will set it back to cube. This is the kind of mesh this cube is using. You then have mesh renderer. If I switch off mesh renderer, what happens is the mesh will disappear. You only have now a border in green color, and this border is what we call as the box collider. So, if I switch off the box collider, see, you are seeing one green line which appears when I switch on this box collider. So, what is this box collider is, along my mesh object, a border is created to determine the area of that particular mesh. Now, what happens is, whenever you are using this collision rules, this box will act as the border which is going to determine whether that particular object is touched or not. For that, we use this box collider, and right now for this cube we have applied box collider. Say for example, due to some reason this box collider is not there. So, I will come here and I will remove off this component. So, then this has no collider at all. Now, to add collider, you can come to add component, and you can just type collider, and you have various types of colliders available. See, box collider 2D, capsule collider, circle collider. So now I am going to select box collider now, and now you have this box collider applied. And apart from this, this box collider can be given a different material. You can use it as a trigger, you can provide contacts, and the center of the box collider I can move it. Say I can move the box collider to right or left. See, I can move it. I will right now set it back to 0. I can also scale it and make it bigger than the object, so that sometimes if it even comes here itself, the collision should start. Although the object mesh is only till here, even if some object come and touches here, the collision is going to happen. So for this, you can set its boundaries. You can either make it small, and also in Y and Z you can make it small or big. So these are the properties that a box collider will have. Now what this box collider is going to do is, it is going to create, or it is going to trigger collision in Unity. Now to understand this, right now although we have box collider applied to all our walls, when we are moving our player, see, our player is also a cube, and when you select this cube, the player also has a box collider. See, you have the, if you switch off mesh renderer, you can see the collider area. This is the collider area. I will switch on the mesh renderer. Now although you have this box colliders activated, when I play the game and when I move this player, now what is happening, the player is, there is no effect of this collider, it is just penetrating through this. Okay. So now if I want this box collider to behave naturally, just like in natural condition, when this block comes and hits here, it should be blocked. To apply that natural principle, we are going to add one component which we call as physics, and it is represented in Unity by rigid body. So I will stop the playback. I will now select my player, the player is selected. I will now come to add component, and I am going to type rigid body. There are two types of rigid body 2D and rigid body. So now I am going to apply this 3D rigid body, and once I apply it, first it is going to determine what is the weight of my object. Then you have drag, you have angular drag, and you have one feature here called as gravity, which is enabled. So now if gravity is enabled, I will go to file, now save it, and now if I play the game, so when I play the game now, see, now when I move this, this will move to the right, and you can see it is stopping. See, it comes here, it moves to the type. See, now it is not it collides and it is not moving inside. There is some variation, that is shake in that. Those things we are going to adjust it later, but right now you can feel how when you move it to the right, and sometimes when you move it, see, it is falling down. It is just falling down. So I will stop the playback. Now I want this to actually behave in a more now what is happening is, as of now, if I move this to the top like this, and if I play the game, now what happens is, as soon as I play the game, see, it drops down. Why is it dropping down? Because I have enabled use gravity. So right now what I will do is, I will drag this along the y axis and place it correctly on the ground like this, just touching the ground. So I have to move it down by around, I think, 0.075. So now it will be precisely placed on the ground. So I have to just check it. You can see the collision area here. So if required, I will increase this area and I can move it and see. See, it has to just touch the ground, means, see, you can see here, it to just touch the ground. I have to move it by around 0.15. Okay, 0.15 appears to be right. So now it is exactly placed over the ground, and I am now going to disable this gravity. So after I disable this gravity, then you have another option here when you are working on this. Now what happens is, sometimes when you are you have another option here called as constraint. So what this constraint is going to do is, now if I play the game and when I am moving this to left or right, sometimes you see that Shiva, and if I just push it too much, so it is falling down. So to avoid it, I am now going to add a constraint. What is the constraint is, now when this is moving, I want this player to move only along the x and z axis. Along the y axis, I doesn't want any physics to be applied. So for this, if I come to constraint and if I enable freeze y, now what happens is, now when I play the game, now if I execute the game and if I run this, so now even if I hit it, see now it is not falling down, it is just rotating around its axis like this. Now it is not falling down because we have added the y constraint. So now I will stop the playback, and in rotation I doesn't want any rotation physics to be applied to it. So I will freeze rotation all along x, y and z, all the three axes. Now if I play the game and if I check it, see now it comes to the left, it goes to the right. So if I move it like this, so now it is not even rotating. However, I doesn't want it to slip away like this outside. So it is now, right now what is happening, it is slipping away from outside. So we are going to make that, avoid that by happening in our later classes. We are going to understand how to fine tune this collusion in the later classes, but right now you understand at least this physics is getting applied. So if I doesn't apply too much force, he is not going to go out, but if I keep bottom pressed along with left, he will come out. Okay. So the thing is, say he is coming out. So this problem we are going to solve it later, because when you apply a certain amount of force, more than the required amount of force, this wall is going to break away, this object is going to break away from the wall. This correction we will do it later, but as of now we are able to now play the game and move our player within this constraint in our game. See, he is moving within our constraint. So along right, left, he is moving without any issue. There are some bugs which we are going to solve it later. So now in this session, you have now understood what is collusion. Basic collusion means when two objects come and touch each other. How this collusion is determined? It is determined by the collider boundary, which we added by using the box collider. We can manipulate this, we can make it smaller or bigger. So this is actually, and to make this collusion work, we have to apply physics to the object, and we apply physics using rigid body. So with this, we are actually going to conclude this session, and in our next session we are going to start studying about functions and methods. Thank you.